Caution, disclaimer. This video is created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It reflects my personal thoughts, questions, and independent research, and is intended to foster a film community and encourage discussion. This content is not meant to offend, slander, or present complete or definitive truths. Please do not attempt to replace anything shown or discussed on this program. Film Tricks and Politics podcast and its affiliates are not responsible for any mishaps, misunderstandings, or misinterpretations. All opinions expressed by a guest are their own and do not reflect the views of BLKJAGtv, its content, or the Film Tricks and Politics podcast. Enjoy the show, engage respectfully, and be entertained.
Danny got the size, huh?
Camera's going. Film Tricks and Politics. Take 3. Yo, what up? We're Film Tricks and Politics. Welcome back to the 3rd episode or whatever number this is. We just going with it. I'm glad you guys are hanging out here with me. We got a lot of great stuff for tonight's show. Yes, every Tuesday at 8 p.m., Film Tricks and Politics podcast will be showing a great video and show for you. So, what we got going on today is, I think the word of the day is perspective. And we're going to be talking about that, your perspective, my perspective, our guest perspective, because we do have a guest tonight. We do have a guest coming through. I think you guys are going to be very excited about it. So, what's going on right now is I want to kind of talk about like lenses, because in the film world, that's how we create our perspective. That's how we create it and create our stories, the angles that we want to come from when we're telling a story. A lot of times people don't really understand that there's a language being spoken when you're using different angles, different size camera shots. Like, I know you get all crazy when you start hearing like 45 millimeter or 24 millimeter or 18 millimeter lens and stuff like that. Yes, I'm going to talk about lenses, and I don't have a single lens in my hand, and I don't need to, but because I'm talking about perspective and how you use the lens and what it is. And again, you always know I'm going to show something for the visual learners, so I'm going to probably either put a video that's going to come from this direction or that direction, and we're going to watch that right now.
Go over how a lens works. Light passes into the lens and through different glass shapes called lens elements. These elements slightly bend or refract the light, so it lands on a focal point on an image sensor. This is where a picture is created.
Yeah, so we're back. That video is cool. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about perspective with using a lens. So we got things that we're going to get coverage. But also each lens has its own personality, even the different types of lenses. And we'll talk about that as well. But at the same time, the coverage is how you're telling the story with the images. And it's kind of psychological because you're making the human person watching it understand the environment, understand the dialogue, understand all the key points in the plot that they need to know by just visually telling the story. Let me let you understand a little bit. When I was in film school, I would watch my TV for about a year and a half or so. My TV's just on mute. I never watched it with sound. And I took a dry erase marker and I would make hash lines over the TV screen. And then I make circles with a hotspot. So if it was a good movie, like a blockbuster movie, and I push pause anywhere, the picture was always a great picture. It was always a great picture. Dynamic, cinematic, everything was in the right spots. So once I got to the certain classes in film school, they started calling those the rule of thirds, the hot spots. These are the spots where you want to put people so you can make sure they're having a conversation. So just as you got an over-the-shoulder shot, which when you're having dialogue, those kind of things help you. So after a little while, I started understanding the language that they were using when they would have the using the certain angles. But then you want to use a certain angle with like a certain lens, and it may not feel right, might work right. So let me just tell you about the coverage shots, so you can just have some basic things. Because again, I'm always talking to the filmmaker. I'm the filmmaker's filmmaker. I'm Kane King, and I'm always trying to talk to the filmmaker that's just trying to get out there and make something happen. So the basic cover shots, and this is stuff that you could take with run and gun. Run and gun is like you got a camera and you're out in the field and you're just gathering information, and you got a simple light setup, and you got a camera and you got a camera operator and then a correspondent, and you're run and gun. But in that same thing, we still have the same coverage shots when we're telling the story, just like on the news. It's wide, medium, tight, 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 or tight, 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 medium, wide. Tells a story. So wide is establishing shot. That's everything, wherever you are, is in the shot. The actors, the background, everything. It's in the shot. Then you have a medium shot, and that's usually going to push in a little bit closer, so that way you can know who or what are we focused on in this shot. Like, why are we looking at this? The medium shot can usually give you that. And a medium shot is a very versatile shot. There's so many different kinds. You got a wide medium, you can have a close-up medium, you can have a arcing shot medium where you're going around the subject because maybe they're about to fight or something, or face off. And so, but basically it's establishing that we have two or more characters or one or more characters in a location. Because again, you have human beings watching a two-dimensional flat piece of board with pictures on it called a movie screen. And so we have to make depth, we have to make that make sense, so the audience doesn't get out of whack of what's going on and get crazy. Not necessarily get vertigo, but some of those kind of things can happen. You know what I'm saying? But so back to the coverage. So wide, medium, tight, tight, tight. The coverage is, so now you got the medium. Then you're going to go to the tight shot. A tight shot could be, maybe I'm closer on the face so I can see who the character is, want to see some emotion because maybe it's an emotional part of the scene. And then at the same time, you want to get an even tighter shot. Maybe this is focusing on the blouse, focusing on a brooch, focusing on a gun or a knife or a hand or maybe an eyelash movement or something like that. And then you have another tight shot, which can be reserved for an insert. The insert is basically like, say you have a character that's going to go and pick up a cup. And they pick up the cup. And when they pick up the cup, maybe just before that, somebody put like a little poison in the cup, but we want to do a shot just of the poison drop going into the liquid. That would be our insert. And that would give us coverage of this person came into this place and they got poisoned. And so we got the wide shot, the medium shot, and the tight, tight, tight. And when I say doing a reverse, you're just doing a reverse to get the coverage. Now, that's just basic coverage. There's all kind of stuff. And then you're talking about moving the camera and all that. So back to the lenses. The lenses are, if you want to do a wide, so let's keep it simple. Again, we're going to keep it simple. The bigger the number of the lens, the closer you're going to be to your subject. The smaller the number, the wider, the more you're going to have. So example, so when you have a camera, most of you guys probably have an 18 to a 24 millimeter kit lens that goes with your camera. You bought it with it, and that's what you're using. Maybe you went out and bought an aftermarket one. Bravo for you. That's the best step. Some of you may have a 24 to a 70 millimeter lens. That's the next step. That's a great one too. That's a lot of versatility because you can do a wide, medium, and get kind of like a close-up, nice close-up shot with that lens. That's a great lens to have. But that 18 to 24, that's kind of more so a wide lens, and it's a good lens for a novice filmmaker or photographer. So that way, pretty much everything is going to be in focus. If you get close enough to your subject, then you'll start to notice a little bit of the bokeh, the fuzziness, the shallow depth of field behind the subject. You'll start to feel that, but it's it's mostly for a wide shot. So the 18 to 24 millimeter, you want to do a wide shot. So when you see like somebody riding a horse over a hill, and you want to show the whole landscape, that's probably going to be like in the movies, probably like a 10 or a 12 millimeter, because I think once you get down to 12 millimeter, it starts doing the fisheye effect. And so sometimes you don't want that. You want to keep that flat. So the prettiest wide shot angle lens that I used, I battled with myself because I want to say it was a 10, but I think it was a 12. It just gave the most beautiful landscape shot that I've ever seen, and I've been chasing that shot forever still. But you can get some nice 18 millimeter shots. I think I love the 24. Now the 35, that one is like the gladiator lens, the 35 millimeter. That one is very forgiving when you're moving the camera and walking with the camera. If you don't have a 24 18, it can do a good wide shot, but it doesn't like to. It doesn't like to. You know what I'm saying? But notice how I'm talking about the lens like they have their own personality, because they do. They do. They all had their personality. My favorite is the 85. That one is like the Lambo Ferrari of the lenses for me. Is the 85 millimeter. It gets in there nice and tight and sweet and got a nice shallow depth of field where it's like a thick, cloudy murk behind them, whatever stuff you have behind them. And that's why it's good to understand lighting. And we'll have that episode. You'll catch that here coming up soon. But it's good to have some good 3-point lighting in order for you to really get some dynamic shots with the lenses that you have. So again, I wasn't coming here trying to get all techie with you. That's why I didn't have any lenses on me, because it's not about the lens. A lot of new filmmakers and maybe some old collector guys, they get caught up in the lenses. They get caught up in the camera. It's not about this how you use the camera and how you utilize the lenses. Yes, is there two different types? There might be more than two different types, but the two main types of lenses that people talk about is spherical, anamorphic lens and spherical lens. Spherical lens are because it's a circle, it's a sphere, and you got anatomic. And I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Anatomic lenses. I believe I'm saying that right. Correct me in the comments, like I tell y'all all the time. Correct me in the comments. But anatomical lenses, they're gonna give you more of a wider shot, more depth. And then when you look at the bokehs usually gonna be like a rectangle, like a long, like the lights in the background, the bouquets. I'm gonna put a video up so you guys know what I'm talking about. But the bouquet is gonna be more like a rectangle, square type. It's very indie. Cinematic kind of feeling. A lot of people, it's very romantic type of lens and feel that use anamorphic. That's what it was, anamorphic. I'm gonna correct myself. Anamorphic lenses, they have more of a romantic type of feel. Very expensive lens, very beautiful lens. Then you have spherical lens, which is the normal, what mostly everybody's dealing with, and you'll have like circle bouquets on the lighting that'll be behind you if you make a shallow depth of field and have that bokeh effect. Still a great look. It's just a different feel. I think it's more of a practical feel that digital filmmakers have been dealing with. The one thing I'll say about anamorphic lenses, just be prepared to dress your sets more on the edges and the perimeters, because it's going to give you more wider space. That's why you see movies like the Dune and Avatar, big westerns do use those kind of lenses and things of that sort. But again, not kind of get too nerdy and techie into the lens thing. I just want to give you guys some ideas that there is a language with lenses, and we need to use them in order to tell the stories, because folks who possibly have a hearing impairment, but they can see. If you could tell your story through what they can see, you got millions of fans that could do that. And then as well as when you you close your eyes, you should be able to hear the movie and understand where it's going from just hearing it and feeling what that feels like. So use all your senses when you're really developing your movie, when you're watching movies, so you can know what you need to do to make your movie. And I just wanted to talk about lenses because that's how we get our perspective. And everybody's lens is going to be your perspective. It's not going to be someone else's. You're looking through the lens. You have to figure that out. And speaking on that, since it is like Black History Month right now, I'm gonna pull up something that we watched this, I believe, in film school back in 2014. Through a Lens Darkly, directed by Thomas Allen, an award-winning film, 2014. It's a documentary, and it's focusing on photography used as a tool by Black photographers, taking images of our life, our culture, our art, our rebellion, our protest, changing, creating like social change and understanding like we are out here because photography is art. Videography is art as well. And let me tell you why. Because photography is a picture. Videography is a series of pictures moving fast. So 24 frames or 29 frames, that means there's 24 pictures being taken and moving at the same time to make that picture move. So there's an art with it behind it. But then to be able to use it as a tool to create social change because the camera and the lens and behind with anybody's perspective, this right person's perspective on it, they could capture something that a picture can speak 1,000 words. Yeah, a picture can speak 1,000 words. And then you have Black photographers, Black artists, especially it's talking about the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, even in the 20s. Just that power to be able to document something down. That power that Black men and Black women wielded in their hands and through their eyes, and these valuable pictures. I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna play a little bit because I don't want to get a copyright ding or anything like that. But if you get a chance, watch Through a Lens Darkly. It was directed by Thomas Allen Harris, and like I said, award-winning documentary. And it was basically about Black photographers. And there's one Black photographer that I want to shout out that took me under his wing when I did photography, sports photography for NASCAR and Pro Early World Challenge. Remember that I was telling you guys about that in my first episode? I got a chance to be one of the few of Black photographers that were out there and videographers, because most of them were photographers. A lot of them wasn't doing video. I was doing both at the same time. And there was another gentleman out there, 82 years old at the time. This is back in 2014 to 2018. My seasons were there, like a little bit, 18, maybe even a little longer. Bruce Miller. This guy is the original Black photographer for Trans Am race car track driving, NASCAR, Pirelli. He's the only one out there. 82-year-old still was getting around at the time. And he also, in his pastime, he designs guns and weapons for law enforcement and high elite military teams. So Mr. Bruce Miller put me on one of my first artillery military commercials. I put up a few pictures before. I'll put one up on here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I want to give a shout out to him because that is a Black man that did this for 40 years. He said, I'm the first Black videographer, photographer he's seen out here. And he said at the time it was like 35 years. So he took me under his wing, and I got to do some shoots with Lamborghini and Trans Am and Chevrolet, whatever, and Cadillac. And so those are two Black photographer, Black History Month. I like to give my shout out and give their flowers out to them.
There are secrets in every family. Sometimes they bury it deeply. And sometimes they're right out there in the open, willfully unseen. There is one place where all the secrets reside. In the family photo album. In what it chooses to represent, and in what is absent, hidden.
As a child at the age of 6, I realized that I am black, and I didn't want to be black.
Every day we're basically told you ain't it, you don't look right.
The cowards,
shiftless,
laziness,
stupid.
Seemingly never-ending barrage of negative representations wield a certain kind of political force, even though they are fictions.
How is the photograph used in the battle between two legacies, self-affirmation and negation. Our salvation as a people, as a culture, depends on salving the wounds of this war. A war of images within the American family album.
Well, before I transition and go, this segment is really about lenses and angles and perception. And then also we just gave a shout out. But also we got a special guest tonight. We got a special guest that's going to be coming through. You guys know him. Really, really close friend of mine. Really close business partner of mine. Really close, just all around cool, crazy, always been that kind of guy. And when we come back from this break, from watching this video, I'm going to introduce him and we're going to get this started and we're going to talk about voter suppression and a lot of other things. So yeah, I told you guys, yes, we're going to touch on national politics and local politics a little bit. But this is Film Tricks and Politics, the podcast. And you're right here with Kane King II.
Yeah.